In your academic career, you have done research, taught students, written books, and developed policy. Was any of these activities more interesting or more fascinating than the others? And did they interact in any way?
Oh, yeah, well, all wonderful activities. And I was also writing at the same time philosophical fantasy novels about exactly the same issues. And in my idea, this is just an integrated part of everything that I did. But if you really ask me, I must say that it's teaching. Absolutely my favorite. And for me, teaching is like sharing the most mind-blowing insights that theory has to offer. And it has always been so wonderful to see how students got inspired and suddenly they started thinking at a much higher pace than I could ever do. And also bring in their own experiences and emotions, which always enriched these insights so much. And the happiest moments were when students came to me and they said, well, I learned a lot from this course, but I learned most about myself. And I think, yes, that's it. And on the other hand, I've learned so much from my own students. And this is especially, I think, in relation to gender, sexuality, neurodiversity, race, but many more topics. And I think that I have to be grateful to my students because they have enriched my thinking so much. And I think without them, I wouldn't have been able to do the research that I've been doing.
So now you are about to retire after a long and successful career. Reflecting on what you have done, what achievements are you especially proud of? And what do you hope that students and colleagues will continue being interested in and investigating?
Yeah. Well, I think the best work that I've done emerged from collaborations with other people. And in that sense, I think that I'm most grateful that I've been able to contribute to the whole debate about Dutch racism. That was a wonderful experience for me. I learned from that so much. And I hope that I was able to develop that field, develop those insights for other people as well. I would like to add that I've always approached racism from what we call an intersectional perspective, and that means that I've been interested in the question how the experience of racism is different for people from different genders or different socioeconomic positions or different sexualities. And reflecting on that issue, it has always baffled me how basically virtually everything that we think about is shaped by our notions of gender, race, etc. And very often very problematic notions. For example, the way we think about the environment, about nature, or the way we think about immigration is infused, is shaped by these notions of gender and race, sexuality, and I could go on. And so this says a lot about the nature of our power dynamics in our society. And that's incredibly insightful when you look at it from this perspective. So I hope that my colleagues and my students will continue this kind of work. But what I hope that my students will remember is, especially I think, the sheer pleasure and power that comes from our kind of critical thinking, because it teaches you so much about yourself and about your position in the world. But it's pleasurable. To get this insight, it moves against your own feelings of powerlessness sometimes. So, and connected to that, there has always been one inspiring moment during my teaching, and that was when we started to debate about notions of identity, and we started to talk about relational concepts of identity. And that means that we are all a product of the political, economical, environmental, material, human, emotional relations that of the global, that shape our global world. So our identities are not autonomous, but they're always shaped by, they're always the product of all these relations, of the relations within that interactive, interconnected world. And that's a hugely liberating insight, I think. because it teaches you about what your position is and also what your responsibilities might be within these connected networks. And I think that perhaps it sounds a little bit theoretical, but it's very concrete. And I hope that my students, I see that students, it have been wonderfully inspiring moments when we talked about this. And I hope that my students will be able to work with that during their lives and also to translate it into concrete actions, concrete practices.
What are your hopes for the future of the humanities?
Well, I have really good hopes because our field is so essential to understanding everything that is going on. So the wicked problems that we have, the wicked global problems that we are dealing with today, like the climate crisis, war right at this moment, poverty, all of these things cannot be solved by technology. We've seen that. And we've seen how our political system is not able to solve these issues. And that is because they don't take into account the irrational, weird nature of human beings. So, and that is what the humanities can do. So in that sense, the humanities are essential to give a good analysis of what's going on and also to point out the direction of where we need to look for solutions. Now, unfortunately, our society is not much interested in the humanities because they think the humanities are about just fiddling with artistic stuff, the little details, and they don't have an inkling of what the humanities really could do, the force and the power of the humanities. So what I would hope is that we in the humanities, the underfunded, overworked humanities, that we will make more noise and that we can show with some more conviction, with more noise, with more assertiveness, that we are indispensable to solving the issues of today. So more noise, more noise, more noise. And of course, I hope that society will be able to listen more to what we have to contribute and to look beyond, well, let me just formulate it as a neoliberal insight, the neoliberal discourses of what is useful and what is not useful. So this is what I hope for the humanities. The humanities somehow shed the modesty that they are characterized by and that we start making more noise. If our insights are not used in analyzing these problems, these issues, and are not used to developing solutions, then I think we will not come up with any viable solutions. So I hope that we will make noise. I have been trying to make noise, and I know how difficult it is, but I hope that my colleagues will continue doing exactly that. And I hope, of course, that society will stop being willfully blind for what we have to offer, only for the reason that we are perhaps not very suitable for making money. But what we have to offer is something much more important, is perhaps even as large as the survival of the planet. And what I would like to tell my students is be very proud of the path that you have taken. Even when your family and friends don't understand what you are doing. So keep reflecting on the world. Continue the path of critical thinking. Open yourself to other people, especially those that are different from you. Become a part of other communities. Be an ally. Open up to other stories and share your own stories. Cherish your own weirdness and love the weirdness in other people. And never, never, never forget that society needs your weirdness, your unique experiences and insight to build a livable future.